Bit of a worry in the financial sector this afternoon with those outages.
Yeah, look, there'll be a lot of concern, a lot of frustration amongst consumers, bank customers, small businesses in particular. The thing that I took note of this is it seems to be affecting all of the banks, not just one or two. If it was one or two of the banks, you'd say, what's wrong with your systems? Given that it's all of the banks, you're more likely to be looking at a network issue around the large network providers, whether it's one of the telecommunications company or the NBN, I'd be looking there. But very concerning, disrupting to transactions. A lot of business transactions won't be able to be settled. I understand the...
Well, we know day to day, everyone, using their phones these days. And
banks have closed their branches right around the country. So even if you wanted to go and talk to somebody face to face, that'd be very difficult. All the stuff is forced online.
It becomes reflexive, doesn't it? Now, with these sorts of outages, it's a reminder that we're dependent upon that technology holding up.
A big impact. It puts an obligation on us as the government, the service provider for the NBN, to make sure that system's robust, and all of the telecommunications providers as well. And of course the banks themselves to ensure they've got robust services. If they're forcing everyone online has got to work.
How about the jobless number today? That was extraordinary. It shows that some of Labor's fears about the end of JobKeeper were misplaced.
Look, we welcome the numbers. We're not out of the woods yet. We think a lot of this has been driven by the fact that immigration has been frozen, and that has forced employers to look to domestic workforce to fill vacancies. That's a good thing. That's overwhelmingly a good thing. But we're looking to the medium term and wondering whether these numbers can be sustained as the economy opens up. We hope they can. At the same time, productivity figures are woeful. So immediately, things are looking better than we'd hoped, than we thought they would. But I think across to the medium term, we've got some significant problems.
The JobKeeper warnings, though, don't look like they've eventuated.
Yeah, again, not out of the woods yet. We're glad. I've got to say, we welcome the fact that more Australians are in work than there were 2 months ago. That's got to be a good thing, but we're not out of the woods yet. And as I said, the true measure of how an economy is going, yes, having a job, but ensuring you've got more money coming in and ensuring that your incomes are going up. So wages still flat, productivity still down. So we're a long way from out of the woods yet.
Your super bill, going back to the House of Representatives after passing the Senate, the government's made a number of amendments in compromise. Have they landed in the right spot now in terms of these reforms?
Not yet. Not too late for them to fix the outstanding problems, Kieran. It's been a dog's breakfast from the beginning. The idea that we're going to give the Treasurer the power to cancel private sector investments is something out of a Hugo Chavez playbook, not a coalition party
It's
playbook.
not happening now though, is it?
They've finally withdrawn the last of those provisions at 11:30 this morning. That is good. But there's still 3 million Australians in high fee and underperforming funds that aren't going to be fixed by the government's legislation. We're calling on the government to extend the scope so their problems are dealt with. Let's not forget the government's own advisors are saying these are the funds, these are the Australians that are being harmed most by the existing system. So surely we can sort that.
So how would you deal with that? Because at the moment, just to explain for our viewers, that your super bill is about stopping duplicate accounts where you go to a new job, you've got to set up another account and so on. Basically, you take your super with you.
That's right.
Fundamentally, what's your problem with it when it comes to those 3 or 4 million workers you're talking about?
There's 2 bits to the bill. The first bit of the bill does what you say. It staples people to their first superannuation fund and they take that with them from job to job. If that's a good fund, then that's great. But if you're being stapled to an underperforming fund, then that's not good. And the government in the second bit of the bill has set up a means by which we measure the performance of funds and close down those that are no good. We think that's a good idea, but why are we excluding 3 million Australians and the funds that 3 million Australians belong to from that performance management and that threat of closure, particularly when those 3 million funds are the highest fee paying and the worst performing? There's no good reason why they've done that, except perhaps to protect some sector of the industry that they want to protect as opposed to another.
But the government says it is going to hold underperforming funds to account. Are you saying
it's not
all funds?
Not all funds. It's not creating a level playing field. It's treating some funds different to the others. It's got a protected species of funds. 3 million Australians are in them. Worst returns, highest fees. Why on God's earth would you not apply the regime to the worst performing funds? We can't understand.
What are those funds? Which sector are you
Largely
talking
they're
about?
called choice products, legacy products. They'll be in some of the old bank-owned superannuation funds, some of the generally in the for-profit sector, not in the not-for-profit sector.
So if you can get them to cover that, you'll be supportive of the bill? Because there's obviously some good
100%.
measures in here.
100%. If the government just does the sensible thing, extends legislation to the people who need it the most, fixes some of these little barnacles on it, we'll back the bill because we back the objective of high performance and low fees.